Today we are reading Overview of Xianzhou's Materia Medica. Provides an overview that helps healers in the Alchemy Commission to reference medical texts. Collection 1. The Medical Research Collection. Liu Hua's Medical Compendium. This book, written by the medical student Liu Hua, is widely recognized as the foundation of the Xianzhou Alliance's modern medicine. Liu Hua was a Vidyara from the Xianzhou Fenghu. He was a pearl keeper that supported the Fenghu High Elder for the first 300 years of his life, and became the head healer that closely served the Fenghu High Elder for the last 400. Through his long years of clinical practice and research, Liu Hua had acutely realized the Xianzhou medical sciences problem at the time. The Xianzhou's tradition of preserving the past meant significant amounts of medical practice relied on experience instead of science. For the Xianzhou natives of the time, their millennia of medical experience was far more reliable than scientific theories written on paper. Liu Hua therefore authored this Liu Hua's Medical Compendium in the hopes of reorganizing and better explaining the principles of Xianzhou medical science through more scientific methods of inquiry. The book did not gain much attention at the time of its publication. It was not until 93 years after Liu Hua's hatching rebirth that a group of young Alchemy Commission members on the Lo Fu formed an innovative organization in the Cold Springs Delve, later named Cold Springs Sect, by posterity. The Cold Springs Sect rediscovered how Liu Hua's medical compendium had a vision before its time and offered critical value to the field of medicine, and regarded the book the standard for medicine. Later, the Cold Springs Sect's innovative thoughts were gradually acknowledged by the various groups in the Alliance, and Liu Hua's medical compendium also finally gained the importance it deserves. Key tenets of long life. As the earliest contact point of the ambrosial arbor, the healers of the Lo Fu's Alchemy Commission have a deeper understanding of the core principles, biology, anatomy, and the process of conversion of long-life species than healers on the other Xianzhou ships do. Everyone knows the author of Key Tenets of Long Life is the famous healer Cheng Seng from the Theophany era. Some medical historians share the belief that this book was based on Cheng Seng's writings, and only emerged in its current form after repeated modifications and edits by those who came later. For example, many records about the civilizations of long-life species were only discovered after the Theophany era. Key Tenets of Long Life lists the physiological characteristics of 26 long-life species, all of which are further supported by anatomical and genetic evidence. In particular, the study of the Xianzhou natives' physiology has a profound impact on the establishment of the relevant regulations in the Tin Lord's commissions. Collection 2. The Nutritional Sciences. Achievements in Alchemy. This book, compiled by the Zhu Alchemy Commission, is a comprehensive summary of the alchemical prescriptions and their smelting and refinement techniques. It is also an alchemy textbook used in the academy. The crux of alchemy lies in synthesis and transformation. During the period before the Xianzhou set sail, alchemy was already divided into the medical and artifacts branches, and the art was considered the most important cultural inheritance retained from the primeval Imperium. In the era of the Ambrosial Arbor, medical alchemy progressed even further by leaps and bounds, illustrating the wonders of life across all its changes. Following the Flaming Catastrophe War, many alchemical prescriptions in the achievements in alchemy were destroyed because of the Ambrosial Arbor and could never be restored. Nevertheless, a vast number of remedies recorded in the book can still be applied. For example, the revitalization pellet that enhances the self-healing capabilities of long-life species, and the gallantry infusion that strengthens muscles and increases muscle power are military prescriptions still used even to this day. Compendium of Remedies. This book is compiled by Don Shu, the chief alchemist of the Lo Fu Alchemy Commission. Don Shu's team extensively researched almost all the Materia Medica from the Theophany era to the present, carefully selecting and summarizing a total of 39,500 medicinal prescriptions. About 3,726 of them were invented by Don Shu and her team through medical practice. The Compendium of Remedies is widely recognized as the pinnacle of pharmacological achievements in Xianzhou's 8,000-year history. The book categorizes all the prescriptions into 28 sections based on the ailments they treat. Among them, the volumes of the vasculature section, the orthopedic section, and the transfiguration section are the most complete and detailed. The gourd-born section and the hatchling-born section encompass the medical techniques of Foxians and Vijayattara. The Mara section is the most impressive as it compiles the latest research findings on the study of Mara-struck conditions over the past few centuries. After this book was published, it immediately became a must-have guidebook for every alchemist of the Alchemy Commission. It's also designated as the official textbook for all related disciplines in the Academy. Due to various reasons, the Alchemy Commission has irrevocably gone downhill. Against the historical backdrop of the Alchemy Commission, the birth of the Compendium of Remedies is undoubtedly a boost of confidence that encourages the Alchemy Commission to start exploring the value and meaning of its existence in modern society again. Collection 3. The Unorthodox Collection. The Comprehensive Handbook of Exotic Knowledge. On a literal level, exotic knowledge could be construed to mean knowledge from outworlders. However, at the height of the Alchemy Commission, the Alliance was almost completely dependent on the progress of medical science. Therefore, the exotic knowledge in the Comprehensive Handbook of Exotic Knowledge specifically refers to medical science from outworlders. This book is also the first work in the history of the Alliance that systematically presented the medical science of foreign civilizations. The Comprehensive Handbook of Exotic Knowledge occupies an important place in the history of the Xianzhou civilization's contact with the outside world. It could even be said that the book had profoundly influenced the direction of the Xianzhou civilization's development, shaping the Alliance into what it is today. The author of this book is unknown. It is thought to be a collective work from the Alchemy Commission staff of the Xianzhou Yu Chui and Yao Qing. According to the Chronicles of the Yu Chui, the editing of this book was part of the exotic knowledge revival movement, spearheaded by Die Yu, the cauldron master of Yu Chui's Alchemy Commission at the time. It is commonly thought that Die Yu also directly led the editing of the Comprehensive Handbook of Exotic Knowledge. When published, the Comprehensive Handbook of Exotic Knowledge was split into 3 volumes according to the civilization clusters, with 4 chapters in each volume. The first volume was the IPC volume, the second was the Guild volume, and the third was the Abomination volume. The third volume encountered significant pushback toward publication. Even though Die Yu overcame public scrutiny, the third volume was only made available 70 years after the first 2 had been published. Time proved that the Abomination volume provided a very positive contribution to the development of Xianzhou's medical sciences. After all, both the IPC and the Guild are civilizations dominated by short-lived species, and their residents within their domains have drastically different anatomies and physiology to long-lived species. Though the Alliance could learn from their scientific thought processes and medical technologies, there are only so much to gain from them. Meanwhile, the topic of investigation for the Abomination volume are the denizens of abundance, long-lived species just like the Xianzhou residents. Wing weavers and Borisans have always had their own unique medical science systems, but the Xianzhou natives habitually looked down upon these abominations' technical achievements in the millennia prior. Now we are well aware of the kind of danger that lurks in our arrogance and spite toward enemies. However, for the Xianzhou natives of the time, publishing a work such as the Abomination volume that humbly learned from our enemies was practically tantamount to treason. Thankfully, DU was able to withstand pressure and could rid the entire alliance of the shackles of arrogance and spite, thus obtaining more useful knowledge. Grand Encyclopedia of Xianzhou, Chapter on Medical Sciences. This book was authorized by Izumi Tamagawa bint Amutula from the IPC, who was an expert on the study of Xianzhou, a natural scientist, and a writer. In the year 7032, 23-year-old Izumi Tamagawa arrived at the Xianzhou Zhuming as a trade specialist and resided there as a visitor for the rest of her life. She realized that the cosmos's knowledge of the Xianzhou Alliance at the time was mostly based on incomplete stories or unfounded rumors. Therefore, she resolved to author an epic work that would comprehensively present the Xianzhou civilization to foreigners. That was how 40 years later, the Grand Encyclopedia of Xianzhou was born. The chapter on medical sciences features prominently in this epic work, taking up almost 1/3 of the pages. In the chapter of medical sciences, Izumi Tamagawa used the IPC's medical system to classify all the medical and pharmacological works that could be found in the entire Xianzhou Alliance, as well as recounting their histories and explaining their principles. While the chapter of medical sciences is only an amateur piece of work when compared against professional pharmacopoeias and medical textbooks, this publication still managed to achieve Izumi Tamagawa's original goal of letting every traveler understand Xianzhou's medical sciences. Collection 4. The Heretical Collection. Yaoxi's Manual of Viscerals. At the end of the Theophany era, countless secret believers of the plague author wrote books and established schools to argue for the correctness of its heresies. Apart from certain mad followers of theodicy, there were also some who had tried to establish a medical system rooted in the worship of Yaoxi. The most widespread and influential among these books is Yaoxi's Manual of Viscerals. This book is the first to systematically establish the Yaoxi medical sciences, while tightly connecting this science to the worship of the plague's author. With this negative impact, the book became the beginning of the disciples of Sanctus Medicus. This book originally had 75 volumes split into medical sciences, pharmacology, magic, and artisanship. Now most of these volumes have been lost. The version currently available is a 4-volume version re-edited from the remnants of the book by archivists. These residual chapters were mainly taken from books, manuscripts, and private correspondences from the time that rebuked the religion of Sanctus Medicus, and some of them could be inaccurate or plain untrue. Theories on returning from the underworld. An infamous heretical medical text, its author is very likely an alchemist or healer who continued to worship the abundance in secret after the establishment of the Xianzhou Alliance. Theories on returning from the underworld records 16 different outrageous ways to resurrect short-life species after their lifespans have expired. For example, the hive soul technique sacrifices the body of the deceased to the immortal soul-snatched bees, letting them parasitize the body and turn it into a hive, then using the species' hive mind consciousness to achieve rebirth. Alternatively, the blood-hatching curse transplants the scales and flesh of the half-human, half-snake cobra kinds onto the person to deliberately infect them with the blood fever of the hatching snakes, thus transforming them into long-life species. All of these forbidden arts, without exception, require exceptional mastery in methods such as surgical operations and gene therapy. Some of these are closely linked to the IPC and the Intelligentsia Guild, leading the majority of medical historians to conjecture that this book was completed with foreign help. Scripture of Yellow Pneuma Yang Essence. Scripture composed by anonymous alchemists in the branch of the disciples of Sanctus Medicus known as the Inner Secret Sect. All extant copies of this book are replicas of the original. Its foreword records the process through which this book re-emerged into the light of day. In approximately year 6610 of the star calendar, the Lo-Fu Alchemy Commission's Elixir Research Terrace was conducting an inventory of its books when they discovered this book in their collection by pure accident. The Alchemy Commission at the time sank into intense debate regarding whether this book should be destroyed. In the end, Bai Zhe, the Cauldron Master of the Alchemy Commission, opted for middle ground. The original copy would be destroyed, but the content will be reproduced and sealed away. Only the Cauldron Master of the Alchemy Commission, the Chief Healer, the Chief Alchemist, the Lead Medical Assistant, and any officials ranked higher than these 3 positions may consult this book as a historical reference. The believers of the Inner Secret Sect and the disciples of Sanctus Medicus are convinced that the Xianzhou natives' bodies possess circulatory vessels in the branching form of the ambrosial arbor after receiving the blessings of the arbor and becoming long-life species. These circuits lead toward an organ known as the Core S, which is key to the Xianzhou natives' second evolution, alternatively known as the Ascension. Based on the theoretical foundations of Yaoxi's Manual of Viscerals, the Scripture of Yellow Pneuma Yang Essence systematically explained the circulatory structure of the Xianzhou natives. It also proposed that the body should be considered as soil, the breath considered as rain, and combined they nurture the Core S, a seed, to spread the circulatory system as branches, finally achieving an inner ambrosial arbor that thrives and grows as an inner secret. The yellow pneuma mentioned in the book's title is an essence that drives the vitals and the theories of the inner secret sect and opposes the black prana that symbolizes death and decay. The author believes that the purpose of life is to maintain the presence of yellow pneuma and let life continue to evolve. The views of the inner secret sect have long been considered superstition. However, it is important to mention that some excerpts of its medical theories have been included in later scientific texts. Divine Scripture of the Secrets and Miracles of Shu Hu's Manifestations. One of the scriptures left by the disciples of Sanctus Medicus, its author is Ye Yin, the Foxian Helm Master of the Xianzhou Yaoqing Skyfaring Commission. He was a knowledgeable pilot and also helped the disciples of Sanctus Medicus to thrive as its first Master Primus. According to the records in the Ten Lords Commission's Book of Imprisonment, Ye Yin witnessed how the rune author's legion destroyed Muldrassil, the homeworld of the Wing Weavers, after the first Denizens of Abundance wars. Due to Xianzhou's creed of eradicating abominations, the Alliance stood by and observed the entire process. The overwhelming death and destruction shook Ye Yin's belief to the core, and he proclaimed that he must rethink about the long-life species' duty and purpose in life. In the end, Ye Yin left his position and drove a starskiff to roam the stellar seas in search of an answer. On the ancient planet of Rahu, he found an emanator of the plague's author, a living entity called Shu Hu. Ye Yin witnessed how Shu Hu granted life back to Rahu, which had long ago become a dead planet, and caused the planet to throb like an embryo in the mother's womb. He followed Shu Hu and recorded their healing miracles and various teachings, ultimately composing this scripture.